Okay, we're just starting another Banjocast here. I'm listening in the background. Oh, I've got to like way the heck out of the way. Gotta reset. I got to pull the cord up and over. Here we go. This should be better. Way louder here. Check in, see if I'm losing any frames. Looks good. Looks like we're sending. Going to check my stream update. Says I'm going live. Health is good. Right on. So yeah, but welcome back to another Banjocast. My name is jamespfp. This is my channel. If you like what you hear in the course of the proceedings of this evening, please consider subscribing to my channel. I need 100 subs or so. Make my life easier. If you could, it'd be awful nice of you. I'd really appreciate it. Using a different set of technologies here this evening, but the first thing I'm going to do is in the background I'm going to be setting up a bit of I'm listening to something. That's the reason why I'm like stopping. Okay, so I'm zooming in on what I want to get up here so that I can monitor before broadcasting. And it looks to me like I have to lower squelch quite a bit. Gonna be waiting a while for it too. So I'm listening in the background here to something on the headphones, which is like distracting. Okay, I'm gonna stick it off to one side. The other thing I got queued up here is a video, which I'm gonna start playing.
Department gave me the.
I'll stick this video link in the description for here.
Really quickly, make sure the brake sign's not up.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Good. All right, so the lead homicide. This is Patrick Holly. This is Big League Politics. The lead homicide detective on the Seth Rich murder case said privately that the Metropolitan Police Department gave him strict rules not to talk about the case because of what the case is. He said the higher-ups in the department were very aware of the case and begged a private investigator not to throw me under the bus because he feared he would get reassigned somewhere to moving property around if he talked about the case.
Aha!
Detective Joseph Della Camera met with private detective Rod
So that's updated.
at Wheeler's Maryland office on April 25th.
I'll turn this up a bit.
According to notes that Wheeler took of the meeting. Those notes were provided to Big League Politics by a source who wishes to remain anonymous at this time. Della Camera told Wheeler that he did not have evidence to suggest that Rich was killed due to his affiliation with the DNC, and the fact that Rich was not shot in the head suggests to him that it was not a hitman. But when asked if Rich was exchanging emails with WikiLeaks, Della Camera dodged the question without denying it. Here are the full notes from Wheeler's conversation with Della Camera. From Rod Wheeler, subject Della Camera interview. Met with Detective Della Camera of the Metropolitan Police Department at my office in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Detective Della Camera shared the following information. He is the lead homicide detective on the investigation surrounding the murder of Seth Rich. He stated that the investigation is somewhat stalled as he has no suspects or persons of interest in the case. Further, upon being asked specifically about what the working theories are surrounding the death, he said he still believes Seth's death was the result of a robbery gone bad. He believes that the suspects may have attempted to rob Seth, and he was met with resistance from Seth, and thus decided to shoot and kill him. He further believes the
Hear the radio
assailants
kicking in the
are
background.
from the Detroit
There's a
Park
lot of
section of Northwest Washington, D.C.
alleged cops.
because that is the direction that an eyewitness observed two males running towards the night of the incident. Della Camera stated that police investigators, have exhausted their search for any additional video surveillance footage that might be out there. He indicated that he has checked with several persons who may have had video footage along the route in which Seth walked the night of the incidents, but to date. But he has been unable to find any additional video. Della Camera stated that he has checked the local McDonald's restaurant in the area as well as surrounding businesses, but has been unable to find any additional video. Isn't that interesting? What a coincidence. In the day and age where there's videos everywhere, we now have a situation where, magically, there's no videos. Lastly, with regards to video, Della Camera states that there was some video surveillance footage that came from a small convenience store on Flazier Street, but the video quality is extremely bad, and there is nothing on the video that anyone can see that could assist with the investigation. Further, he states that on the video, you could see the bottom half of two individuals walking across the street on Flazier Street, and then moments later you see Seth Rich fall into video view in the crosswalk in the street in front of the convenience store. Della Camera.
I'm just pausing here for 1 second. This is necessary. I'm going to check where we are in the proceedings here.
Samedi soir et la nuit suivante, ennuagement en soirée. Nappe de
This is
brouillard
worth waiting for.
formant vers minuit. Vent du sud-est de 20 km à l'heure. Minimum.
Well, we'll let that last story just sink in a little bit.
Le dimanche.
So yeah, not to try to cut out of Seth Rich or anything, but
Émis à 16h le vendredi 4 août.
not like
Saint-Jean, péninsule de Bonavista. Pour dimanche, alternance de
Sunday.
soleil et de nuages. Maximum
Sun and cloud.
21. Pour dimanche soir
Okay.
et la nuit suivante.
We're going to get actual
nuageux.
forecast here in a
Minimum
second.
13. Pour lundi, averse. Maximum 19. Pour lundi soir et la nuit suivante, nuageux avec 60% de probabilité d'averse. Minimum
I wonder when this
14.
will come on.
Pour mardi, alternance de soleil et de nuages. Maximum 22. Pour mardi soir et la nuit suivante, passage nuageux. Minimum 13. Pour mercredi, nuageux avec 40% de probabilité d'averse. Maximum 20. Pour mercredi soir et la nuit suivante, passage nuageux. Minimum 12. Pour jeudi, alternance de soleil et de nuages. Maximum 19. Normal pour la période. Minimum 12. Maximum
I could actually get rid of this by narrowing the band here.
Sud. Pour dimanche, nuageux. Maximum 19. Pour dimanche soir
This
et
is
la nuit
Bugtons?
suivante, nuageux. Minimum 15.
Oh,
Pour
northwest.
lundi, averse. Maximum 21. Pour lundi soir et la nuit suivante, passage nuageux avec 60% de probabilité d'averse. Minimum 13. Pour mardi, alternance de soleil et de nuages. Maximum 20. Pour mardi soir et la nuit suivante, nuageux. Minimum 12. Pour mercredi, nuageux avec 40% de probabilité d'averse. Maximum 19. Pour mercredi soir et la nuit suivante, nuageux. Minimum 12. Pour jeudi, nuageux. Maximum 19. Normal pour la période.
So that's going to be really good now in a second when we get back in English. Yeah?
Maximum 19. Les conditions météorologiques à 22 heures.
Right now,
la température 14, le vent du sud-ouest
14,
à 12
southwest,
km
yeah.
à l'heure, l'humidité relative
12 kilometers an hour.
85%, la pression barométrique 102,5 kPa et à la
See
hausse.
the interference tonight.
Saint-Jean, ouest, la température 14, le vent du sud-sud-ouest à 1 km à l'heure, l'humidité relative 88%, la pression barométrique 102,5 kPa et à la hausse. Cape Race, la température 14, le vent de l'est-sud-est à 4 km à l'heure, l'humidité relative 96%,
To some degree,
la
I've cut down
pression
on a lot of this.
barométrique 102,5
It's pretty interesting to see how much stuff's in harbor today.
non disponible. Prévision maritime pour Terre-Neuve émise à 20h
That's what's
le
doing it.
vendredi 4 août pour
This
ce
son of a gun,
soir,
huh?
cette nuit et samedi. Côte Est, au nord de Cap-Saint-Francis, vent du sud-est à 15 nœuds et localement, rafale à 25 le long de la côte tard ce soir. Vent devenant du sud-ouest de 10 à 15 en fin de nuit, puis devenant au sud-est à 15 samedi après-midi. Côte Est, Cap-Saint-Francis et sud, vent léger, devenant du sud de 10 à 15 nœuds samedi soir. Nappe de brouillard. Grand banc nord, vent du sud de 10 à 15 nœuds, devenant léger en fin de nuit. Vent léger, samedi, nappe de brouillard. Prévision maritime à long terme, émis à 15h30 le vendredi 4 août pour dimanche, lundi et mardi.
I'm going to just turn this off for one short second, and I'm going to change the input rate. I'm literally going to narrow the band of what I'm scanning, which should be big. Yeah, it does, look.
Grand banc nord pour dimanche.
You know, it's not quite so wide.
Devenant du sud-est à 15 nœuds en après-midi. Pour lundi, vent du sud
Now
à
look what I
20
can
nœuds.
do.
Pour mardi, vent variable à 15 nœuds. Prévision de la hauteur des vagues pour Terre-Neuve émise à 18h le vendredi 4 août pour ce soir, cette nuit et samedi. Côte Est, Grand banc nord, mer de 1 mètre. Les conditions météorologiques à 22h. Saint-Jean, la température 14, le vent du sud-ouest à 6 nœuds, l'humidité relative 85%, la pression barométrique 102,5 kPa et à la hausse. Saint-Jean, ouest, la température 14, le vent du sud-sud-ouest à 5 nœuds, l'humidité relative 88%, la pression barométrique 102,5 kPa et à la hausse. Cape Race, la température 14, le vent de l'est-sud-est à 2 nœuds,
interference this way.
96%, la pression barométrique 102,5 kPa et à la hausse. Argentia, non disponible.
Forecast for Newfoundland issued at 4 p.m. Friday, August 4th, for tonight,
that was northwest
Saturday
right there.
And Saturday night. St. John, Avalon Peninsula north, for tonight, mainly cloudy. Wind southeast, 20 kilometers per hour, becoming light this evening. Low 10. For Saturday, cloudy, becoming a mix of sun and cloud in the morning. Winds becoming southeast, 20 kilometers per hour in the afternoon. High 22, except 16 in onshore winds. Maximum UV index 7, which is in the high category. For Saturday night, partly cloudy. Fog patches developing overnight. Wind south 20 kilometers per hour. Low 13. Avalon Peninsula southeast. Avalon Peninsula southwest. For tonight, cloudy. Fog patches developing near midnight. Low 11. For Saturday, cloudy, becoming a mix of sun and cloud.
I'm just going to let this go, right?
Fog patches
well, I don't have to repeat it.
In the morning. Winds becoming south 20 kilometers per hour in the afternoon. High 17, except 22 inland. Maximum UV index 7, which is in the high category. For Saturday night, increasing cloudiness in the evening.
That's Fives Day, ladies and gentlemen.
Developing near midnight. Wind southeast 20 kilometers per hour. Low 13. Extended forecasts from Sunday, August 6th to Thursday, August 10th for Newfoundland, issued at 4 p.m. Friday, August 4th. St. John's, Bonavista Vista Peninsula, for Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud. High 21. For Sunday night, cloudy.
We're listening quite literally to this,
for Monday,
whatever this radio
high 19.
frequency is,
For
whatever
Monday
broadcasts
night,
that.
cloudy with 60% chance of showers. Low 14. For Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud. High 22. For Tuesday night, cloudy period. Low 13. For Wednesday, cloudy with 40% chance of showers. High 20. For Wednesday night, cloudy period. Low 12. For Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud. High 19. Normals for the period, low 12, high 21. Burin Peninsula, southern Avalon, for Sunday, cloudy. High 19. For Sunday night, cloudy. Low 15. For Monday, showers. High 21. For Monday night, cloudy period, with 60% chance of showers.
It's for the Burin,
13.
yeah? I'm going to split the difference here. Let's change the rate up a little. Just a tiny bit.
For Wednesday, cloudy with 40% chance of showers.
Makes a slightly better
High
sound.
19. For Wednesday night, cloudy. Low 12. For Thursday, cloudy. High 19. Normals for the period, low 12, high 19. Weather conditions at 10 p.m. St. John's, temperature 14, wind southwest 12 kilometers per hour, relative humidity 85%, barometric pressure 102.5 kilopascals and rising. St. John's, west, temperature 14, wind south-southwest 1 kilometer per hour, relative humidity 88%, barometric pressure 102.5 kilopascals and rising. Cape Race, temperature 14, wind east-southeast 4 kilometers per hour, relative humidity 96%, barometric pressure 102.5 kilopascals and rising. Argentia not available. Marine forecasts for Newfoundland.
Okay, we're not going to listen to the marine forecast tonight. It's totally in my area of expertise, or like I shouldn't say expertise. I like listening to the marine weather forecast. It's fun. I'm also going to take this. We're going to do a little bit of BiffyJingo later, if you know what I mean. But until then, let's just stick it up with this.
Said he has a witness that observed two people running in the immediate area the night of the incident. However, they did not see the actual shooting incident. Super chat, Logical Lion, HB is the pimpiest pimp since Flavor Flav. Thumbs up. Thank you, sir. I like Flavor Flav. Logical Lion, very well, sir. Thank you again. At this point, Della Camera voluntarily stated that the whole conspiracy story really threw things off with the investigation. He heard that Seth Rich was an email leaker. However, he states, I've got nothing to say or to show that the shooting was related to emails or anything other than a street robbery. When asked specifically, was there any information located on Seth's computers that would indicate that he did in fact send emails to WikiLeaks, Della Camera replied, there is certain information that I can't provide regarding the case itself, and I hope you understand, like I said, I can't reveal detailed information about the case by my bosses because of what this case is that says don't provide information out other than what is publicly out there. I just can't go into detail with what I know. Easy question for everyone. Don't you think if the answer was no, they would make fucking sure to say it? Because wouldn't that give the DNC a very easy explanation? Oh, well, the police didn't find anything, they said no. This reeks. This fucking reeks. I hate to just, pull in Judge Judy, but Judge Judy does have a very good saying that I like a lot, and I think is true, is that if something doesn't make sense, then it's not true.
Thanks.
And,
Next time.
while I think there's always exceptions to the
Okay,
rule,
that was working.
I think that's a very good principle to abide by. This shit doesn't make any fucking sense. At this time, Della Camera
Thanks.
was
Next
asked
on
if
to
the possibility that emails were found on Seth's computer related to the DNC, and this could be a motivation for him being killed. Della Camera replied, anything's possible. I can't say one way or another. Della Camera was asked, was the FBI involved at all in the case? He replied, I don't know. I mean, I never was contacted by the FBI at all. As far as I know, the FBI never provided me with information. I would hope I would know if they were involved, but I don't have any knowledge of them being involved. At this time, Della Camera stated, I'm going to answer this super chat real quick because it has to do directly with this. HB, do you think anyone in the DNC actually called for this hit on Seth Rich? I have no idea. I have no way of telling. And I think that that's an interesting thing to talk about, but I think that's separate from the reality that Seth Rich was the leaker. It's a good question. It's easy to get there because that it seems like this was a hit. It's easy to get there. I mean, I see why people think that. I don't think there's enough evidence to say it, and it's also completely abused by the media to act like whenever we're talking about Seth Rich, that's what we're talking about, like we're accusing the DNC. No, we're talking about Seth Rich being the leaker, and this being a mysterious murder, and if the DNC wanted to, if the answer was no, if there was any evidence of sending things to WikiLeaks on the computer, I am sure they would make sure that that piece of information made it to the public. I mean, really. Isn't that incredible? That one piece of information. Oh,
yeah.
Follow up. Do I think Seth Rich's murder was a hit? Based off of the circumstantial evidence and based off of the group at I forget what college, based off of their evidence and their findings, I do think it was a hit. Yeah, I do think it was a hit. Who ordered the hit, I have no idea. Or it could be a person who just murders people, a serial killer. That seems to be the conclusion of the college. Is that it was a person, they concluded that it was a person that has killed before, that was proficient at it. I don't think they went as far as to say it was a professional hit job, but just that those were that's what pretty much the evidence that at least they were given shows. Anyway, continuing, I know you're a private investigator, and whatever information is revealed, I just hope it doesn't go towards the media side of this. I've tried to contact Jack Berkman and Juliana Assuage several times, but I haven't been successful. I just want to ask them what they know and if they can help me with the investigation. I think Berkman is blowing smoke with his knowledge of what happened. I even heard he has now created a website surrounding the murder. Della Camera was told that the family were told by me, Wheeler, that regardless of whatever direction the investigation goes, we need to solve the murder, identify the bad guy, and get him off the street. So in keeping with that spirit, I need to rule out the possibility that Seth's death could have been related to his job at the DNC. I, Wheeler, haven't been able to rule out that someone from the DNC could have been responsible for Seth's death. Della Camera was asked, were you aware that Seth was having problems with two supervisors at his job at the DNC, and he was very emotionally upset because of his problems at the DNC? Della Camera replied, I was aware that there were problems, but I don't know who the supervisors were that he was having problems with. Next, Della Camera was asked if he was aware that Seth received money from WikiLeaks in exchange for the emails. Did you look into Seth's financial records? Della Camera replied again, I can't go into details with specifics about the case such as that. I really can't. Nothing against you, Rod, but I'm just not trying to get myself jammed up. Della Camera was asked, so the higher-ups in the department are very aware of this
Station's been going mad.
He replied, oh yeah.
Talking almost the whole time.
This is very good shit here. I asked once again about the email records. I informed Delacamera that we need to disprove the theory that Seth was killed because of his job at the DNC. Delacamera stated, honestly, put it this way, if Seth worked anywhere else other than the DNC, nobody would give a shit about his death. The only reason there is such interest is because of where he worked. Delacamera was asked, so why is that? He replied, again, it goes back to the DNC, a political organization. And it all started stemming from around the time of the election, and it sounds like someone was trying to ruffle feathers. I mean, that's what I think. Wheeler asked Delacamera, but Seth's death could have been a hit ordered by the DNC, right? He replied, me personally, I don't think it was a hit because he wasn't shot in the head. If you're going to kill somebody, you're going to make sure that they die. Seth didn't die right away. He lived for a while and died at the hospital. Wheeler asked, and he never made any statements as to who could have shot him. Delacamera replied, I can't go into detail about that. I just can't, Rod. Next, Wheeler asked, so it's possible that he could have said something in terms of who shot him. Delacamera hesitated and said, it's possible. Anything is possible. I mean, what I'm getting at with being a hit, I mean, if you want somebody dead where it is the one place you're going to shoot them in the head, right? You want to make sure that they're dead, not shoot them in some part of the body where you don't know if they're dead or not. You don't know if they're going to live to give information out, and you might get yourself caught up. So that's why everyone got their theories. I got mine. Delacamera was asked, here's a fair question. Can we rule it out that Seth's death is definitely not related to his job? He replied, not to an extent, not just yet. We can't rule anything out. I feel that if it's related to the DNC, at some point it may come out. If somebody gets locked up and they're like, I'm taking the heat for this, and their approach about somebody else, I feel like somebody's going to start snitching them. Wheeler said to Delacamera, I know that some of the news outlets are about to jump out there with more information from wherever they get it from. And a question will be posed to me. Can we rule out that Seth's death has anything to do with his job at the DNC? And I think the answer is going to have to be, and please tell me if I'm wrong, no, we can't rule that out because we don't have a suspect behind bars, we don't have a person of interest. So we can't rule out anything at this point. Then the question is going to be asked if it's possible that Seth's death was in fact orchestrated from someone of or related to his job. Wheeler looked directly at Delacamera and asked, the answer? After a long sigh and brief laughter, Delacamera stated, you've been looking into this yourself and you have investigative experience, and like we said, anything is possible, right? Until we get somebody locked up, we just don't know it. We just don't know. Anything's possible. Look, Rod, please do not quote me on anything. I don't need that shit coming back on me if I'm quoted. I will probably be reassigned to CCB somewhere, moving property around. There's certain details of the case that we just can't renewal to anybody just for the integrity of the case. But do what you got to do for your business and the news stories, but please don't throw me under the bus, Rod. Once again, Wheeler asked, has the investigation shown that Seth received any money from anyone such as WikiLeaks during that time period? Delacamera stated, I don't know. I need to go back and look at his financial records. I didn't notice anything back then when I looked, but it's been a while, and if Seth did receive any money, who knows where he put it, especially if he did receive money. Maybe he stashed it somewhere else. We just don't know. Then Wheeler asked, did your review of Seth's computer reveal that any emails went out to WikiLeaks? Delacamera replied after a long pause, well, there's stuff on there that its emails are sent every day. The context of the emails, I can't go into the details. Again, I don't have anything pointing the finger at the DNC other than the conspiracy theories. Nobody has come to me with direct information and provided detailed information about the DNC being involved somehow. Big League Politics has repeatedly attempted to contact Delacamera to get him on the record for our reporting. That was absolute.
Thank you very much, hard bastard. Not going to go to the second one, but we are going to go over to Jiffy. We can see the plot for the last 5 minutes here. Anywhere where there's a blue line like this, there has been silence. If it's for the last 5 minutes, clearly more than 3 minutes has been on the radio. So I'm going to change this back over to auto for like moment to moment tracking. Let's tune in. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to BiffyJingo. How do you play BiffyJingo? Well, there's a limited number of cars on the road. You see, it is greater than 100. It's greater than 100.
Well, 105 Great Eastern Avenue.
5-3. I think that was 5-3. So that's like literally the middle, the bump car right in the middle.
29 Cochrane, next down Buckwood,
Downtown.
Warrior.
There's 6-2.
29 Cochrane.
So we'll be listening for all the cars in the fleet. I imagine tonight is a Thursday night for me, but it's Friday for everybody else, and it's just starting to pick up. So it shouldn't take too long to run a full card here, I figure. But I don't have though is a piece of paper to keep track of. Next time.
Mount Pleasant, next down 3. Maturity, McPetra.
7-5, 7-5.
Number 13, 1-3, McPetra.
Whoa. This is a longer silence than I expected. Yeah, I'm not actually keeping track of any of the numbers. I'm just going to let it run for a little while.
Next down
Downtown. Nobody there.
McCord. 25 Bonaventure.
Ooh. The little click at the end, that's the key on the radio mic. So when they get the job, all they got to do is just click on the radio mic button once to get that beep on our side. On our side, everyone's listening.
Next down
4 is Elizabeth Avenue.
Bella Vista.
Ooh. The bell. Around the corner for he. Well, let's see. 2 sets of lights and then a corner.
Yes, okay.
Shall we zoom in on the waveform here? Yeah, I think it's more interesting.
Center Warrior.
See, we're not even listening to most of the audio here.
Center Warrior.
Here we go.
Downtown. Downtown.
Downtown. There we go.
82. 82, get 13 Coronation. 13 Coronation, Beyond downtown.
Clearly see the difference in broadcast power between the car and there you go.
Thanks, buddy. Get the 10 Selfridge Road. 10 Selfridge Road, next down 8.
The car.
13 Collins Place, Buddy Delco Press.
The microphone, right? Look how much louder it is.
22.
How many cars there, huh? Shit.
Get Raymond's Restaurant, next down Wall.
Car 1.
Montana's, next down the core, next down 7.
103.
Stagger's Pizza, next down stand number 3. 269 Stavanger, next in the court. Downtown.
Car 30.
30.
North Atlantic on water.
Get the Gypsy Tea Room, next down set. Or 3 Porsche Place.
So some of the stands are already empty.
98.
Courtyard.
39 Mansfield.
Ooh. Qu'est-ce que? Really should be. It would be way much more fun if I was tracking the numbers here. Really am tempted to stick this over onto like a longer term. Let's go with the 10-minute filter. Let's see what it looks like for a 10-minute period of time. So 10 minutes will be displayed over here. This waterform over 10 minutes will tell us like basically how much time on the radio in 10 minutes. So you can see the first 30 seconds or so is
Next in the core here.
Pretty quiet.
48. Delta core here.
Around the corner.
Jab in the core here. Did he hit? Next in the core here.
Nobody else there.
AC bird.
49 Case Street. 49.
You know.
For the Majestic.
Down on Duckworth.
29, well.
So in the first minute and a half, we've
29, get the Saliso bird. Next time, wall. Number 17, Neptune. Next time, wall. Next time, 2.
44.
Van on 2. 17, Neptune.
it's pretty neat, eh? Let's make it a little
Next
wider.
time, 3.
Like I've been.
The west
That
side.
hasn't changed.
Point 98.
Nothing happening at 39 Maxfield.
Next time, 2.
34.
Across from 57 guy. Next time, stand number 7. Next time, 7. It's in the core here. 167 panel.
Could totally make this top window smaller too to get more resolution into the bottom. Yeah, just over 1 second per pixel is what it works out to. That's pretty neat. So 60 pixels is, for all intents and purposes, although that is blown up a tiny little bit, I think.
Next time, 4. 36 rumble.
So not much doing here now after all. It's coming up on 5 minutes here.
Next time, 5. And the crowd. And the crowd. 82. Get the bus stop on military in front of 112. Next time, the courtyard. Aqua press. 62.
Everything downtown.
The ship pub on Duckworth next to Rewet 104. Get your drive one on front. Did you get your drive, Kevin?
On the way back there now.
What way, say, Kevin?
I went to the old Staggers. I'll be there in less than 30 seconds.
Less than 30 seconds, yes, that pizza's getting cold. Much of he had.
Wrong Stoggers.
Next time we'll to Fairfield, Marriott, Lemon.
Well, that's enough of that. I've totally had my fill of it. Probably going to get better a little bit later, though. See, I'm going to just cut it there.
It's interesting, as I noticed there were people in the chat saying that at least it seems as though Hirsch has recanted a bit and said that he was just talking shit. I am not in any way surprised at that, because the level of heat that comes down upon you once it's been known that you dare talk about the Seth Rich story in a manner that's not on narrative, even if it's in private, I totally understand why people would recant. But I just don't buy that. I don't buy that, you know, when you're in private, you're willing to talk about this shit, and then when it gets out there, you're like, oh no, I was just kidding. I just don't buy that. But we're going to go over what he said. And I don't know what his exact recent quotes were. I think this just happened. But regardless, let's just go over this. Audio. Seymour Hersh states Seth Rich was WikiLeaks source. In an audio recording provided to Big League Politics by a source that currently wishes to remain anonymous, journalist Seymour Hersh confirms that Seth Rich had contacted WikiLeaks with sample emails from the leak. Hersh cites an FBI document as proof of his claim. There are no DNC or Podesta emails, this is Hersh, beyond May 21st or 22nd. Last email from either one of those groups. What the report says is that sometime in late spring he makes contact with WikiLeaks. That's in his computer, he says. Anyway, they found what he had done is that he had submitted a series of documents or emails, of juicy emails from the DNC. Here's the thing. Hersh is respected. I don't believe that Seymour Hersh is making up and outright lying that he saw this. That's bullshit. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. If it was someone else, fine. That makes no sense to me. Now, if anyone has some sort of reason that's been documented in the past of why Seymour Hersh shouldn't be considered credible and that this should be considered one big joke, that's fine. But I am not aware of that. Mega Monster asks, is Big League Politics a big website? No, I think they're a small independent site. I use them frequently. I do like their writers. I mean, if Seymour Hersh, as Andorra is saying, you can talk shit and use hyperbole and still tell the truth, right? I mean, the shit about like Trump and whatever, if you want to say that that was hyperbole, I got no problem with that. But this part, like, this would require him to just outright make shit up. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. Hersh explains that it was unclear how the negotiations went, but that WikiLeaks did obtain access to a password-protected Dropbox where Rich had put the files. All I know is that he offered a sample, an extensive sample, I'm sure, dozens of emails and said, I want money. Later, WikiLeaks did get the password. He had a Dropbox, a protection one. He said they got access to the Dropbox. Hirsch also states that Rich had concerns about something happening to him. And as the word was passed according to the NSA report, he also shared this Dropbox with a couple of friends, and that if anything happens to me, it's not going to solve your problems, he added. WikiLeaks got access before he was killed. The conversation is the second in a series provided to Big League Politics. Seymour Hirsch did not contact the family with this information. Someone asked when I'm doing the debate stream covering Anna Kasparian versus Ann Coulter. That's going to be late tonight after either 10 or 11 Eastern, and that will be with Aidan Paladin. So yeah, check that out. In the first audio recording, Seymour Hirsch did not contact the family with this information. In his first audio recording, private investigator Rod Wheeler explains what happened with the Fox News coverage of Seth Rich and how brother Aaron Rich was actively attempting to shut down anyone looking into the WikiLeaks connection. His story in the audio contradicts reports of White House involvement with the media, reports regarding Seth Rich. Wheeler also said that brother Aaron Rich tried to block Wheeler from looking at Seth's computer, even though there could be evidence on it. He said no. He said, I have his computer, meaning him, Wheeler said. I said, well, can I look at it? He said, what are you looking for? I said, anything that could indicate if Seth was having problems with someone. He said, no, I already checked it. Don't worry about it. So I have, because this audio is a little rough, if you want, I have, someone took the time on Reddit, Candy Lotus, to do a transcript of the recording. I imagine you guys want me to read the whole thing. I'm happy to do it. If not, I can move on, but I do think we should likely go over this. It's not too long. It's pretty reasonable here. So this is Seymour Hirsch. About the kid, I'll tell you what I know. What I know comes off an FBI report. Don't ask me how. You can figure it out. I've been around a long time. The kid just, I don't think he was murdered. I don't think he was murdered because of what he knew. The kid's a nice boy, 27. He was not an IT expert, but he learned stuff. He was a data programmer, but he learned stuff. And so he's living on one street, someone in my eyes. He's living in a rough neighborhood. And in the exact where he'd been living, as I'm sure you know, there have been about 8, 9, or 10 violent robberies. Not robberies. Most of them with somebody brandishing a gun, and it's the kid's hand. I'm telling you, look, I'm sure you know what. His hands are marked up. The cops concluded he fought off the people, tried to run. They shot him twice in the back with the .22 caliber, and then the kids that did it ran. They got scared. They didn't take his wallet. Okay, so what the cops do is this, and this is where nobody knows. What I'm telling you, and maybe you know something about it. When you have a death like that, DC cops, if you're dead, you don't just generally go, yep, I know, unintelligible. You have to get into the kid's apartment and see what you can find. If he's dead, you don't need a warrant, but most cops get a warrant because they don't know if the guy has a roommate. You need a warrant, so they get a warrant. I'm just telling you, there's such a thing. They go in the house and they can't do much with his computer. It's unintelligible. The cops don't know much about it. So the DC cops, they have a cyber unit in DC, and they're more sophisticated. They come look at it. The idea is maybe he's a series of exchanges with somebody who says, I'm going to kill you, motherfucker, over a girl, and they can get in. The cyber guys do a little better, but they can't make sense of it, so they call the FBI cyber unit the DC unit. The Washington field office is a hot shit unit. The guy running the Washington field office, he's like a 3-star at an army base. He's already looking for 4. You know what I mean? He's gonna go in a top job. There's a cyber unit there. That's excellent, given. What you get in a warrant is the public information you get in a warrant doesn't include the affidavit underlying why you are going in, what the reasons are. That's almost never available. I can tell you that the existence of a warrant is a public document 99% of the time. So on the same warrant, They call in the feds. The feds get through, and this is what they find. This is according to the FBI report. What they find is he makes, first of all, this is what you have to know. You have to know some basic facts. One of the basic factors is there's no DNC or Podesta emails that exist beyond May 22nd. May 21st, May 22nd is the last email from either one of those groups. And so what the report says is that sometime in late spring, we're talking June, you know, summer's in June 21st, late spring would be after, I presume, I don't know. I just say late spring, early summer, and he makes contact with WikiLeaks. That's in his computer, and he makes contact. Now I have to be careful because I've met Julian 10 or 12 years ago. I stay the fuck away from people like that, you know. He's invited me, and when I'm in London, I always get a message, come see me at the Ecuadorian, but I say, fuck no, I'm not going there. I've got enough trouble without getting photographs. And he's under total surveillance by everybody, but anyways. So they found what he'd done. He had submitted a series of documents and emails, some juicy emails to the DNC, and you know, by the way, all this shit about the DNC, you know, whether it's hacked or wasn't hacked, whatever happened, the Democrats themselves wrote this shit. You know what I mean? All I know is that Seth offered a sample, an extensive sample, you know, I'm sure dozens of email, and said, I want money. Then later WikiLeaks did get the password. He had a Dropbox, a protected Dropbox, which isn't hard to do. I mean, you don't have to be a wizard IT, you know. He certainly was not a dumb kid. They got access to the Dropbox. He also, and this is also in the FBI report, he also let people know with whom he was dealing, and I don't know how he dealt. I'll tell you about WikiLeaks in a second. I don't know how he dealt with the WikiLeaks and the mechanism, but he also, the word was passed according to the NSA report. I've also shared this box with a couple of friends, so if anything happens to me, it's not going to solve your problem. Okay, I don't know what that means. I don't know whether you, anyways, WikiLeaks got access before he was killed. I can tell you right now, Brennan is an asshole. I've known all these people for years. Clapper is a sort of better guy, but not a rocket scientist. The NSA's guy is a fucking moron, and they don't. You know, the trouble with all those guys is that the only way they're going to make it to a border or is to get hired and get some fat cat contracts if Hillary stayed in. With Trump, they're gone. They're done. They're going to live on their pension. They're not going to make it. And I got to tell you guys, they don't want to live on their pension. They want them they want to be on the boards. I have somebody on the inside. You know, I've been around a long time and I write a lot of stuff. I have somebody on the inside who will go and read a file for me. This person is unbelievably accurate and careful. He's a very high-level guy, and he'll do a favor. You're just going to have to trust me. I have what they call in my business a long-form journalism. I have a narrative of how the whole fucking thing began. It's a Brennan operation. It was an American disinformation and fucking the fucking president at one point when they even started telling the press. They were back briefing the press. The head of the NSA was going and telling the press, fucking cocksucker Rogers was telling the press that we even know who in the GRU, the Russian military service, who leaked it. I mean, all bullshit. They were telling I worked at the New York Times for fucking years, and the trouble with the fucking New York Times is they have smart guys, but they're totally beholden on their sources. If the president or head of the question mark there to actually believe it, I was actually hired at the time to go after the war in Vietnam in '72 because they were just locked in. So that's what the Times did. These guys run the fucking Times, and Trump's not wrong. But I mean, I wish he could calm down and had a better press secretary. I mean, you don't have to be so. Trump's not wrong to think they are all fucking lying about him. I can tell you right now. You could take that for what it is. I think that there's a decent amount of credibility to this. I also think it's credible because it lines up with the evidence that we have. It lines up with what we know. I mean, you have a situation where you know that it was not hacking. The transfer rate in the metadata is not possible through the internet. It wasn't hacking. That's bullshit. When you combine what he's saying, I mean, this is what I'm saying about putting things together. He is saying what we already know. He's confirming what we know. WikiLeaks, before the election, revealed that They had nothing about Trump's businesses in the emails with the Clinton campaign. They have nothing on Trump's business dealings with Russia. So they're going to play up the bromance with Putin. Then you have, after the election, you have Shattered saying they're going to use this as an excuse. And now we know it could not even have physically taken place.
And thank you very much, Hard Bastard and the Hard News Network. I think I'm going to be trying to make a donation to that guy via Patreon, especially since I'm planning to start probably using little pieces of his content, probably from other sites, rebroadcast through to YouTube. But he was talking about doing something like that yesterday. I'm going to stop streaming here now, and we'll probably set up again for another stream, maybe overnight, maybe tomorrow evening sometime. I'm taking this in the long form way myself. No plans, just as it comes. So thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe below. My name is James PFP, and I'd like to thank you for spending time here at the